Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. We are still here on the PTS and I wanted to show you guys a new gear set that's going to be coming in the patch and some of its potential, the abilities that come with it, and what the difference would be if you're already running a build similar to that based on builds that I'm running already in the regular game and based on how they stack up with this build. Now, this build is based on the gear set Eclipse protocol. Two pieces gives you 15% status effect. The third piece gives you 15% skill haste and 30% hazard protection. And one of the really cool things that I see is the way they're designing these gear sets. I think they're going to have that application in the raid. And one of the things that we're missing for context sake is that, we don't have the raid here in the PTS. I think somebody translated that as me saying that the PTS was not a good thing. I wish people would listen to the videos to the end. It really helps conversation. And so that's why we're kind of testing in the blind in a sense. And more than likely, I think the PTS is for the PvP side of things, just so that PvP doesn't get out of hand. And then the fourth piece is indirect transmission, which says enemies that die while affected by your status effects spread those status effects to another enemy within 15 meters. And then the refresh 50% of the duration. So you're going to get 50% longer duration for your status effect, and there's going to be a spread when an NPC dies from a status effect. This is very, very good. Now, I don't even know how to even say it. You have to see it in action, because compared to, say, my regular build that I was running here, I have this very crazy status effect build that uses strategic alliance and uses not sacrifice, the glass cannon. And this does a lot of damage. I use it with my technician. I get skill tier 6 skills. Once I pop any of my status effects and they hit, they do a lot of damage. And so what I did was I tested the build out using the Val Mask, because the Val Mask is supposed to be able to give the status effect debuff damage over time, and the total damage dealt being equal to 50% of the concussion grenade. And I thought that was actually pretty good. And in fact, I ran this mission all the way through to the end to be able to see what this actually did. And then I went ahead and just, basically swapped to my regular skill build, my regular status effect build. And the damage was also pretty good, because 30% damage is actually decent. But here's where the problem is, and here's where the difference lies. The amount of spread that you can get while using this Eclipse protocol is what makes it worth running. Other than that, you can run any status effect build that you want. Now, that spread, though, is where it really gets interesting, because even the chest piece gives you an incentive to run it. Now, many of you may not want to run glass cannon, but that's also fine. The chest piece does give you a very good talent. It's called proliferation, which increases the direct transmission range from 15 meters to 20 meters, and then your refresh percentage to 75%, which is almost at 100% refresh regarding the duration of your status effect when it comes to the 4-piece, basically. This is crazy. This is very, very good. In fact, the build is so nasty that when you even come in and use something like Perfect Shock and All, which I was using in this combination to be able to get more. Like I said, one of the things when you go use another talent, you kind of have to build along the lines of that. So if I was doing something like this, I'd probably be using Seekers so that I can do a damage and then do some bleed afterwards and get a lot more of that. And then, but basically, Perfect Shock and Aura says applying a status effect to an enemy increases your total skill damage and repair by 20%. So I'm using it just to kind of see what the extra push will look like. And then, having skill damage, having status effect, and skill haste on your build also allows for a lot of different fun possibilities. You can also just use the backpack talent as well, which is also, in my opinion, very good. What this does is it amplifies all damage you deal to status affected targets by 15%. Amplified being the key here. Now, if you look at Wicked increases your total weapon damage by 18% for 20 seconds. Here, there is no time limit, and you have an amplification. Amplification versus increased tells me that this is the difference between additive, which is increased or increases, that's additive damage, and amplifies, which is multiplicative damage. So you get an increased multiplier on any target that does have a status effect. And being that this gear set allows for the spread, while using the chest piece or not. If you're using chest piece, it allows for a bigger spread. If you're not using the chest piece, then no worries. You can go without the chest piece and stick with glass cannon. Or whatever you want to run on the chest piece. You know, some people want to run all kinds of fun stuff. In my opinion, I'll probably go like Golden Gear. I'll do this 4 here if I wanted to go crazy. You know, and this will probably make for a very decent build as well, because I have a lot of status effect, I have a lot of damage, and I have weapon damage as well that's being amplified as well. This is crazy. Anything that's amplifying my weapon damage amplifies all damage you deal. So that's a multiplier of all your damage by 15%. This makes it a very solid gear set, in my opinion. And in PvE, it does the job that it should be doing. I mean, once the spread hits enemy NPCs, once an enemy NPC dies, it just spreads to the other enemy NPCs, and they're under a status effect. Depending on what kind of status effect they're under, you are going to be getting a lot of, a lot of benefit from it. Now, another thing too is this is being run with Technician. Technician has a lot of benefits. So when I'm running solo, I would prioritize running something like Technician because I have the extra 10% skill damage. But if I'm running in a group, I'll be happy to run Survivalist, because Survivalist does afford me the grenades that I can get. You can get the incendiary grenades that apply burn, and then Survivalist also has a perk that allows for your teammates to be able to deal an extra 10% damage to targets that are under status effect. This is why Survivalist, in my opinion, will continue to be the best of the specializations, because it's so versatile and has a wide array of applications than many other specializations. I'm not saying it's number one of all, but when you see the way Survivalist really does work, it's been designed. In fact, I think it's the more balanced specialization. And I think specializations getting super generic was somewhat of a mistake. They should have let them be very specific. Before, Survivalists used to support the assault rifle class, and then the others would support all kinds of other class, because they made it generic. And then if you go look at the sharpshooter provides, the headshot benefits for only rifles and marksman rifles. And I think the stability benefit it's also that's for everybody. Okay, good. Whew. But see, this is very specific to marksman rifles and rifles. There should be some extra benefits within the different specializations for specific weapon classes to highlight them, if you ask me. But here is that Survivalist talent that I was telling you about. Which is it? Oh, well, you got skill haste here. Where is that talent? Increase protection from elites. There it is. Group members get 10% bonus damage to targets with status effect. So putting the status effect on targets is actually pretty cool. And for those of you who might be curious to see how that spread works, let me make sure my shooting range is on heroic, and then I'll make sure that I have this all worked out. I have gameplay footage for you, but if you don't want to watch the gameplay footage, I think this would be a very good way to actually put it in perspective. So say I get into cover, and then I, put my status effect on. Say I want to use a chem launcher, and then I use this, and then, we burn enemy NPCs. I throw my bleed on there. Once one enemy NPC goes down, the others are going to follow as well. And it just spreads. It just spreads that damage. See how it's spread over everywhere? It's doing the work that it's supposed to be doing. Now, one other thing, and I know for those of you who stayed long, this is a secret. It's good that you watch these videos to the end. It's not a secret, but something of an additive bonus to this video, and that's using the Harmony named rifle. This rifle is not so strong in my opinion, but what it does for its perfectly in sync talent is really it's the best complement right now, in my opinion, for a status effect build, and even in some cases for skill builds as well. So we've always had Spike and Perfect Spike, that a headshot grants 20% skill damage for 15 seconds. This one does a very decent job as well, because it kind of mixes it back and forth, because you can stack the bonus. So Perfectly in Sync says hitting an enemy grants 20% skill damage for 5 seconds. Using a skill or damaging an enemy with a skill grants 20% weapon damage for 5 seconds. Damage increases are both doubled while both buffs are active at the same time. So if I use this weapon and I hit an enemy with this item, I'm supposed, if I use a skill and I use the weapon, it's not working here for some strange reason. I don't know why. You'll see it in the video footage. If I use the skill and I have the, the damage procced, they can stack for both of the buffs and they can double if both of them are active. It's a short window, but it really does a good job when it comes to improving my skill damage and giving me that extra skill damage for 5 seconds. When I hit an enemy, it is supposed to grant me that. For some strange reason, it's not. Oh, there it is. Okay, there we go. Oh, it's now procced. I don't know what happened there. I think we had a problem. Look at that. It's ridiculous how good it actually is. Now, Spike, may provide you that, extreme damage potential for a while, but, look, now the damage has stacked and, I'm getting that duration, I'm getting that buff, and it's 5 seconds, but it's 5 seconds of madness. It's just mental. According to the Brits, it's mental. So this is basically what this build is capable of doing. And put the spread, enemy NPCs are even dying on the other, far side of things. That's crazy how much that spread is from 15 meters or even 20 meters, depending on what you're using. And in this build, I'm using glass cannon. I do run glass cannon because I feel like it's okay for me. So if you guys want to watch the missions and all that, I should have in post-production provided a link for you to be able to watch the mission runs. I completed one mission and then the others were just basically just running from point A to point B and, taking out enemy NPCs, seeing how fast I can clear a room. But for those of you who have status effect builds, this is something to look towards. For those of you who are testing in PvP, I would say this is a combination you might want to test so that we can see if there are any discrepancies in the PvP side of things, or if it's too much, too broken, too strong, whatever the case may be. I think that responsibility bears on PC players that are playing on PvP. I'm not a PvP player, and I want to play Mortal Kombat with the remaining time that I have. All right, talk to y'all soon. Thanks for watching the video. Peace.